All three of these stories are true and the most watched stories on the entire internet. Part 1. The Amityville Haunting. Imagine moving into what seems like your dream home, only to realize that something unspeakable has been waiting there long before you arrived. That's exactly what happened to the Lutz family in the fall of 1975 in a quiet suburban neighborhood of Amityville, New York. The house at 112 Ocean Avenue wasn't just any house. Less than a year earlier, it had been the site of one of the most gruesome murders in American history. Ronald DeFeo Jr., only 23 years old, had killed his entire family while they slept. 6 people taken in the night in a home that was supposed to be safe. The crime shocked the nation, but it also left behind a lingering darkness. When George and Kathy Lutz and their 3 children moved in, they were initially oblivious to the house's violent past. The house itself seemed picturesque, a large Dutch colonial with a sprawling yard, the kind of homes families dream about. But from the very first night, something felt wrong. It started subtly. Doors that were shut would swing open on their own. Windows would rattle even when the wind was still. Kathy, the mother, began waking in the middle of the night, convinced she felt someone watching her from the shadows of her bedroom. The children complained of a cold presence in their rooms, and George started hearing whispers that seemed to come from inside the walls. Then came the more disturbing events. One night, George and Kathy awoke to find a green slime oozing from the walls in their bedroom. It wasn't condensation, it was viscous, unnatural, as if the house itself were bleeding. The air smelled of decay, an odor that seemed to seep into every corner, even into the children's toys. Objects in the house would move on their own. Chairs slid across the floors. Pictures fell from walls. Kathy swore she saw figures, tall and dark, lurking at the edges of rooms, disappearing the instant she tried to focus on them. George, rational and practical, initially dismissed these incidents as stress or imagination, but the house refused to be ignored. One morning, George awoke to find a writing on the wall above the bed, etched into the paint in what appeared to be blood. "Get out," it read. The message was scrawled unevenly, as though the hand that wrote it was trembling or not entirely human. As weeks went on, the manifestations escalated. Doors would slam violently, cutting off rooms from one another. Cold spots spread like ice throughout the house. Lights would flash on and off without warning. The children, already frightened, began speaking to invisible entities. One night their daughter reported that a man with glowing eyes had appeared at the foot of her bed, whispering threats in a voice that sounded older than time. The family tried to rationalize it. Stress, poor sleep, nightmares. But then came the full realization that this was something beyond the ordinary. Cameras were set up, but no one could capture what moved in the shadows. Priests were called, holy water sprinkled, blessings performed. Each time, the activity intensified rather than subsided. George began to experience physical phenomena. Heavy objects would press against his body while he slept. Invisible hands would grab at his arms. Voices would whisper secrets about the previous murders, recounting them in meticulous, horrifying detail. Kathy began having night terrors where unseen entities would suffocate her, whispering her name in guttural, demonic tones. The children were the most affected. They spoke of a man in the corner who watched them, a shadowy figure that seemed to know their thoughts, predicting their actions before they happened. Their drawings became disturbing, faces twisted in fear, symbols scratched across paper, eyes looking from every wall as if the house itself were alive. George desperately consulted experts, from psychologists to paranormal investigators. no explanation fit. It wasn't mental illness, it wasn't gas leaks, it wasn't stress, it was something else. Something intelligent, malevolent, ancient. Then came the climax. One night, George woke to a feeling of intense dread, like the very air in the room had weight. He saw a figure standing at the foot of his bed, a tall, dark man with glowing red eyes, impossibly still. It spoke without moving its lips, "Leave, or you will not survive." The voice echoed inside his mind, not his ears, and the words seemed to seep into his very bones. The Lutz family didn't wait. They fled the house within days, abandoning the dream home and leaving behind nearly all their possessions. Neighbors reported strange events long after, lights flickering, doors opening by themselves, and a pervasive sense of unease lingering on the property. The house was never the same. Rumors swirled, and paranormal investigators claimed that the evil that lingered at 112 Ocean Avenue did not tie to the murder alone. It had existed long before, feeding on fear, on grief, and on the very act of violence that occurred within those walls. To this day, the Amityville House stands as one of the most infamous haunted houses in the world. People are drawn to it, curious and horrified, but those who enter speak of an oppressive weight, a feeling that they are not welcome and that some things should never be disturbed. The chilling truth is that some homes don't just carry memories, they carry souls, shadows, and anger that refuses to die. And for the Lutz family, one mistake, moving into the wrong house, became the nightmare that would haunt them forever. Keep watching. Part 2 is next. All right, if this video got your heart racing even a little bit, I dare you, yes you, to subscribe to Dread Pulse before you click away. Come on, join the dark side of horror and crime content. We have way more fun over here. Bell's right there too. Ring it. Part 2. The Enfield Poltergeist.
Imagine moving into a perfectly normal house in North London, thinking life is about to settle into routine. That's exactly what the Hodson family did in 1977. It was a modest council house on Green Street in Enfield. At first, everything seemed fine, just a quiet home for a working-class family. But then, strange things began to happen. Little noises at first, the faint tapping of walls, doors creaking on their own, shadows where there shouldn't have been any. It started in the middle of the night. Janet Hodson, 11 years old, woke up to hear her furniture moving on its own, chairs scraping across the floor, tables rocking violently. At first, her mother dismissed it. She assumed Janet was exaggerating, imagining things in the dark. But then Janet wasn't alone. Her younger siblings reported seeing toys fly across the room, a rocking chair moving by itself, and even pictures falling off the walls without explanation. One evening, Janet screamed from her bedroom. Her mother rushed in to find the bed shaking violently as if some invisible force had gripped it. The air was heavy, charged. Objects flew across the room as if the house had come alive, attacking them. And then it got worse. The family began to hear voices, not just whispers, but a deep, guttural, mocking voice that spoke directly to Janet, calling her by name. Neighbors heard it too. People walking past the house reported seeing lights flickering inside, doors slamming, and a little girl screaming in the middle of the night. One neighbor swore she saw a shadowy figure lurking behind the curtains, watching the house with glowing, malevolent eyes. The events escalated. Objects hurled themselves across rooms. Poltergeist activity intensified. Knives clattered on kitchen floors. Drawers opened and closed violently. Janet's voice would change, sometimes deep and guttural, sometimes an eerie mimic of someone she shouldn't know. She claimed she couldn't control it. She would shout in a voice not her own, and furniture would follow her commands or resist them in terrifying bursts of rage. Experts were called. Psychologists, parapsychologists, and paranormal investigators arrived, documenting every incident. They recorded moving furniture, strange voices captured on tape, and even levitation. One famous investigator, Maurice Grosse, set up cameras throughout the house. His footage showed objects moving without explanation. One clip captured a chair sliding across a living room floor with no one near it. Another captured a toy spinning violently on the carpet as if possessed. The house seemed to be aware of every person inside it. Sometimes it would behave normally when adults were present, only to erupt into chaos when the children were alone. Janet became the focal point. Most of the phenomena seemed to revolve around her, as though some invisible entity had taken a disturbing interest in her childhood home. What makes this haunting particularly chilling is how human the entity seemed. It communicated, it mocked, it threatened, and it wasn't satisfied with minor scares. One night, Janet was reportedly levitated from her bed while shouting in a terrifying, unnatural voice, yelling at her mother that she would die if she tried to stop it. Weeks turned into months. The family endured sleepless nights. Sleepovers became impossible. The stress weighed heavily on them. Some nights, Janet's voice would call out in the middle of the night from empty rooms. Doors would slam with the force of someone holding them shut, and the strange green slime that would sometimes appear on walls hinted at a presence that was not only invisible but physically invasive. Psychologists debated whether Janet's experiences were the result of trauma or suggestibility. But even skeptics couldn't explain the objects moving, the recordings of voices, and even the witnesses who heard the chilling tones themselves. The phenomena were too consistent, too well documented, and too terrifying to ignore. Eventually, the activity seemed to wane, though it never fully stopped. The Hodsons eventually left the house, scarred, but the story spread. Newspapers, television programs, and decades of documentaries immortalized the Enfield Poltergeist. Janet herself grew up under the shadow of these events, never fully able to shake the feeling that something beyond human had taken interest in her childhood home. What makes the Enfield Poltergeist haunting unforgettable isn't just the objects flying, the furniture moving, or the guttural voices. It's the way it forced an ordinary family to confront the incomprehensible. A presence intelligent, vindictive, and terrifyingly close. It's a story that has inspired films, books, and thousands of YouTube videos, and every retelling still makes people sleep with the lights on, wondering, what if it happens to you next? Stay tuned for part 3 coming right up next. Like this video so far? Got your stomach sinking a little bit? Then subscribe to Dread Pulse before you click away. Bell's right there too. Ring it.
Thank you for making it this far into the video. Now, part 3. Dear David, the Adam Ellis story. If someone told you their apartment was haunted, you'd probably imagine creaking floors, flickering lights, maybe a shadow moving in the corner. But what happened to Adam Ellis wasn't a haunting. It was a slow, deliberate invasion, and it started with a question no one should ever answer. It began the night Adam had his first dream about the boy. He didn't know why he was dreaming about children at all. He didn't have kids, didn't work with them, didn't even like being around them. But in the dream, he found himself standing in a long, fluorescent hallway. Everything looked warped, as if the world itself was bending around him. At the far end was a small figure, a boy, sitting in a dimly lit green armchair. The boy couldn't have been more than 8 or 9, but his head, that was the part Adam would never forget. It was dented on one side, caved in like someone had taken a hammer to his skull and stopped halfway. And yet the child sat there, motionless, staring straight at him. Adam said nothing at first. He didn't want to speak.
He felt like if he opened his mouth, something terrible would happen. But the boy spoke instead. "You were in my dream," he said with a flat voice. Adam tried to back away, but his legs wouldn't move. Then the boy asked a question that hit Adam like a punch to the chest. "Did you see me?" Everything in Adam's body screamed, "Lie. Don't answer him." But the truth slipped out of him before he could stop it. "Yes, I saw you." The boy blinked. Slowly. Almost disappointed. "Okay, now you're going to die." Adam jolted awake in his bed, soaked in sweat, heart hammering against his ribs. His room was quiet. Too quiet. His ceiling fan barely moved the air. His phone screen lit up beside him, 3:12 a.m. He tried to shake the dream off, tell himself it was nothing more than stress, but that was the moment everything began to spiral. For the next few nights, Adam didn't dream at all. And then one evening, while scrolling aimlessly on his couch, he heard the sound of tiny footsteps running across his apartment floor. Not shuffling, not creaking, running. He sat up, listening. The footsteps stopped. He tried to brush it off. Pipes, neighbors, the usual excuses. But then something else happened. Objects began to move. Small things at first. A plant shifted a few inches overnight. A stack of books was suddenly scattered on the floor one morning. Every time Adam came home from work, something felt slightly wrong. Like his apartment was breathing when he wasn't there. Then came the second dream. Same hallway, same green armchair, same dented boy. But this time, the boy spoke immediately. "You answered wrong last time." Adam froze. "What do you want?" The boy tilted his broken head slightly. "I only come when people talk to me. But you saw me, and you're not supposed to see me." Adam woke up again. Same time. Every time. 3:12 a.m. He began documenting everything. He tweeted about the dream, posted the sounds he heard at night, pictures of objects moved around his apartment. Most people thought he was making it all up for attention, but a few, a small few, believed him. And one reply stood out. It said, "If it's the boy with the dented head, don't talk to him. He asks 3 questions. Answer wrong once, and he follows you. Answer wrong twice, and he enters your home. Answer wrong 3 times, and you're his." Adam felt sick reading it. He only remembered answering one question. "Did you see me?" And he'd answered it wrong. He knew that now. That night, he set up a camera facing his bedroom door, determined to get proof of what was happening. He fell asleep with the camera recording. At 3:12 a.m., his bedroom door opened, slowly, quietly. Not forced, not pushed, just eased open, like someone small was nudging it with careful, deliberate pressure. Adam did not wake up, but the camera caught every second. A shadow, low to the ground, childlike, slipped into the room. It stopped beside his bed, stood there, watching him, for 7 entire minutes. Then it left. The next morning, Adam checked the footage and nearly dropped his phone. He replayed it over and over. He didn't see the boy's face. The shadow never turned toward the camera, but the size, the posture, the movement, it was him, the boy from his dreams. That day, Adam decided to move upstairs to the apartment above his. He thought distance would help. A fresh start. A new space. But the first night, in the new place, he dreamed again. This time, the boy wasn't in the chair. He was standing right in front of him. "Why did you move?" the boy asked. "You can't go anywhere." Adam tried not to speak. His jaw tightened, resisting the urge. But the boy asked again, "Did you move because of me?" Adam tried to say nothing, but something pulled the answer out of him like invisible fingers prying open his mouth. "Yes," he whispered. Wrong answer, number 2. When he woke, every light in his apartment was on, even the ones he'd unplugged. His cat was hiding in the kitchen cabinet, trembling so hard the door rattled. And the photo frames on his wall had all been turned upside down. He lasted 3 more nights. 3 nights of noises, shadows, whispers at his bedroom door, the voice of a child humming on the other side, sometimes knocking, sometimes scratching. On the 4th night, Adam hit record on his phone and whispered, "I need to know who you are. What do you want from me? Just tell me." He didn't expect an answer, but he got one. A small, childlike voice whispered from behind him, "I want you to finish answering my questions." Adam turned, but no one was there. That night, the dream came again. Only this time, it didn't feel like a dream. Adam stood in his bedroom. The boy stood in the doorway. His head was worse now. The dent was deeper, like the skull was collapsing in on itself. His eyes were sunken, almost rotted. And he asked the 3rd and final question, "Do you want to play with me?" Adam's throat locked. His mind screamed not to respond. But the boy stepped closer, staring into him, waiting. "Do you want to play with me?" And Adam, exhausted, terrified, trembling, whispered, "No." The boy's face twisted into something hateful, something older than a child, something that never should have been given a voice. "Wrong," the boy said. The dream shattered. Adam woke up with a scream stuck in his throat, but no sound came out. He couldn't move, couldn't breathe, could only lie there as the shadow of a small figure crawled up onto his bed. The mattress dipped under its weight. Tiny fingers pressed against his chest. Cold breath brushed his ear. The voice whispered, "You're mine now." And then Adam stopped breathing altogether. By the time friends checked on him the next day, his apartment was silent. His phone was on the floor beside his bed, still recording. The final video showed Adam sleeping, then a small, child-sized shadow rising up beside him, and the camera cutting to static. Adam never posted again. Some people still think the entire thing was an elaborate online story. Others swear that every moment was real. But there's one part nobody can explain. Every year, on the same date Adam shared his first dream, someone new reports seeing the same boy, the same dented head, the same voice asking the same question. "Did you see me?"
Like this video? Help us keep making them by clicking that likey button. And subscribe to Dread Pulse before you click away. To be notified of more content like this, hit the bell button. May the nightmares be with you.